Hello and welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Dad. I love tech. Oh, so that I thought I'd bring a little bit of my love and some information about what's going on in the STEM industries, should I say, to you on a weekly, maybe bi-weekly basis. We'll see. But today we're going to talk about some different things that are coming up in the world of technology specifically. Now, what specifically are we talking about? Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to start us off with AI. You see, Microsoft has a plan to keep its data centers from raising your bills. Now, in this plan, what they're going to do is they're going to actually pay the offset of what it costs to run their data centers back to the actual PUC, to the utility companies, which means they're going to pay everything that they're using and wash it so that it does not increase consumption for the area, causing the bills to naturally increase. Now, I think that's an excellent thing because as we're all wrapping our heads around the different things that come with AI, knowing that data centers are the driving force behind it actually helps to keep us a little bit more grounded. Speaking of which, the temperatures that you see from data centers, well, they do, in a small aspect, contribute to climate change. And there's been a study recently done linking your sleep health to the rising temperatures seen in climate change. Now, that particular study in South Australia has seen that individuals in the dry states that are having the hottest temperatures have an increased chance of sleep apnea or some sort of in sleep distress or ailment. I personally can attest that when it's hot or in the hotter months, I have a difficult time sleeping. So I think there is something to that study. I look forward to seeing exactly what that study brings because it may actually, in fact, change how we see several things in the world around us. Now, don't get me wrong. I am interested in keeping the temperatures down. But something that is not wanting to go down is market share. And Nintendo recently finds that their shares are sinking 10% due to memory shortage concerns. Now, as the most popular handheld console, the Nintendo Switch has seen a growth in popularity. And I can honestly say, with a 10% cut in their sales, that is going to take a toll on their market value. I look forward to seeing how Nintendo handles memory shortages. Another thing that is more on the good side of Nintendo is that they're expanding their Switch Online library to include more Game Boy titles. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Game Boy games. I have a DS, a 3DS. I'm looking for an affordable old school advance and an old Game Boy. Maybe a Game Boy Color. But I may just want to go ahead and get a Switch. That way I can enjoy the games I want to, such as Balloon Kid and Yoshi being added on the 4th. Now, don't get me wrong, playing it on the original equipment is always better than playing it on an emulated type of equipment. But playing it with the Switch actually would allow us to see things in better, well, better graphics. I mean, that's the only way to put it. Now, one thing that, well, isn't going to really help us. You know, we were talking about data centers a moment ago. Well, Elon Musk is doing something as SpaceX is pushing towards an IPO release. Elon Musk is doing the crazy. He's selling XAI to SpaceX. They're merging. And XAI, if you remember, just recently bought X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, which means now SpaceX owns Twitter. Now, there's still more regulatory things that they have to go through to make sure that the deal actually sits. But, you know, things being as they are here in the States, I'm not holding my breath because, well, he's probably going to get it. Now, one thing that he may not get is what he wants to do with XAI. You see, he wants to take the load of XAI when it comes to heat, and he wants to add it to the space trash floating around our planet. He wants to, in the next few years, launch up to 1 million satellites, many of those for his new XAI data centers. That's right. He wants to build data centers in space about 2 to 3 kilometers above the Earth's surface so that he can keep the heat created by data crunching and using Grok. Oh gosh, Grok. He wants to keep all that heat out in space and out of the atmosphere. Now, on one hand, that is actually something that I could actually be down with. But on the other hand, shooting lasers back down to for communication is kind of counterintuitive because there is a chance for data loss as the laser comes back through the atmosphere. And if there are any solar storms at the time, which do affect things such as the ISS, then, well, you may find that your data is corrupted as it's coming back by laser. There's still more to be seen, and this actually may not come to pass. So let's just keep up to speed on that and hope that it actually happens. Now, if you are in the market for an Apple, one thing that you have to remember is Apple is not the world's only environment for computing, but they have built a very good environment, actually, an ecosystem that allows individuals to move smoothly from one device to the next. Well, they're planning on moving to a let's see, agentic, more of agentic coding stance when it comes to their AI, and they're going to be using OpenAI and Anthropic integrations, which means ChatGPT and Sora and things like that are going to actually help to train Siri and Xcode. And that's not a bad thing. Now, they have also promised that they are going to maintain their data. They're not dropping their data into the pool for OpenAI and Anthropic to actually use to train their models. Their model is going to stay within themselves. So Siri is still going to be Siri, but she's going to be using some of Gemini and ChatGPT and things like that to actually give her a little bit more knowledge. We'll see how that goes. I'm I'm not against it, but I'm also kind of questioning their logic. I'm also questioning the logic of how they're going about selling their Macs. They are going to a framework style configuration system. You're going to be able to configure your Macs to what you want. Which version of the M5 chip that you're going to get, with how much memory, with what SSD, all down to the granular level. Now, if that sounds familiar, if you've been paying attention to the marketplace, there's a company called Framework that is doing the modular game right. They are offering laptops that you can actually build yourself on day one. That's right. They send your laptop to you in a flat pack that you put all the pieces together, and it teaches you how to build your laptop. Or they'll send you a pre-built system and it's ready to use out the door. Now, me personally, I would go with the 7040 series and put it together myself just because I'm a giant nerd that way. And looking at the processors that they have, I mean, the 7840 HS is not a bad processor. 8 core, 16 thread processor. Chef's kiss. I